Kimi K3 just dropped, and it's an insanely powerful model on the same level as Claude's Fable 5 and GPT 5.6. The biggest thing about it is that it's genuinely good at front end, so good that people are calling it better at design than any other model out there. And it really is that good, but there's a catch, and it's not just a Kimi problem. Every AI model has its own design style, and you don't notice it until you've used one enough. Whenever a new model is announced, everyone says it's the best at front end, and for the first few sites, it kind of is. But the truth is, they all have their own patterns that they use in every design. It doesn't matter if it's Sonnet 4.5 or GPT 5.6, those patterns keep showing up in its designs. So no matter which model you're on, you need something to push it off that default, which is what a good designer does. And one of the best ways to do it is a skill called Hallmark. If this is your first time, we're a software company, and this is our channel AI Labs, where we show you how to optimize your business with AI. And if you don't have your own, you can use these skills to get paid by optimizing it for someone else. And in this video, we're going to go over the Kimi model, its front-end design capabilities, and the skill that strips the designs from these patterns. You might already know Kimi K3 as one of Moonshot's best models, but here's a quick recap for anyone who doesn't. Moonshot AI released it as their flagship model, and it got popular fast. And the big one is that it now joins the models with a 1,000,000 token context window. On performance, it rivals Fable 5 and GPT 5.6 across a lot of areas, and those are two of the strongest models right now. To compare it, we use the benchmarks from artificial analysis, which grades models across different areas. On intelligence, it is way ahead of Opus 4.8 and the new Gemini 3.6, but just behind Fable 5 and GPT 5.6. And the gap in the numbers is so small that it's basically on the same tier as them. On front-end design, it actually beats even those two, as measured by LMArena, which runs models against each other on the same prompt and ranks them on real user reviews. One reason Kimi does so well there is its built-in vision in the loop, which comes out of its strong vision capabilities. Basically, the model doesn't just write code, it checks what it's building. Most models look only at the code to guess how a site will turn out, but Kimi takes screenshots of what it built, looks at the result, and adjusts from there. And that's a big part of why people say it's better at front end. Its spacing and layouts come out way more balanced and purposeful than other models. That leaves cost, and this is where Kimi lands the real advantage. It's priced at $3 per million input tokens and $15 per million output. GPT 5.6 is a bit more expensive at $5 input and $30 output. And Fable's the priciest right now at $10 input and $50 output. So Kimi gives you the same tier of performance as the top models at the lowest price of the three. Now Kimi ships with its own harness called Kimi Code, which launched alongside their K2.5 model. It's a terminal-based coding agent, and it lets you run Kimi without going through the API directly. But when we used Kimi Code, we found it really slow. A task that takes Claude Code or Codex around 3 minutes takes Kimi Code closer to 10, and that comes down to two things. The first is that Kimi's weights aren't open yet, which means this model is just hosted by Kimi and no other servers. So every request has to go back to Kimi's own servers and nowhere else. Those servers get overloaded, so everything you ask takes longer to come back. The second is the harness itself. We found it rough to work with even on the older models, and Kimi themselves admit in their docs that it isn't built to bring out K3's full potential. There are two more problems on top of the speed. One is context. With Codex and Claude Code, we switch models a lot depending on the task coming up, and both of them hold on to the context well when we do. But you can't really do that in Kimi Code because the way this tool holds in context of the conversation breaks down when you switch models. The other is sub-agents. When it ran, it looked like it was spinning up a huge number of them, but when we asked afterward, it said it had only spun up 5 to handle the task. So to test the model properly, we ran it inside Claude Code instead because it works incredibly well there. And Kimi gives you a way to do exactly that. Now, one way of running Kimi inside Claude Code is straight through its API, but that gets heavy on your bill because you're charged for every word the model reads and writes, and it adds up fast once you're using it a lot. So the better move is to run it through the Kimi plan you already pay for. That way you never have to think about a bill and you just pay your usual monthly amount. For that, there's a tool called CLI Proxy API. It takes the coding tools you're already logged into and turns them into an API of their own, running locally on your own machine. So you're basically converting the subscription you already pay for into a server you can run through. You install it with the brew install command. Once that's done, you log into Kimi with the Kimi login command, which opens the Kimi login page so you can sign in. And once it has your details, you're logged in. Then you start the server so the Kimi connection stays live. There's one more thing after that, which is generating an API key for that local setup, because that key is what you hand to Claude Code so it can get access. But instead of doing it yourself, you can just ask Claude Code or whichever agent you use to set the API key up for you with that tool. Once it's done, you copy the key out and use it. Then you launch Claude Code. For that, you change the URL Claude sends its request to. By default, it points at Claude's own URL, so you point it at your local host instead, because that server is running on your own machine now. You paste in the key Claude generated as your Anthropic auth token, and you set the model to Kimi K3. After that, run the Claude command, and Claude Code opens up running K3 on your Kimi subscription. And one thing worth knowing is that these settings only live in that one terminal session, so none of this is permanent. When you close the session and run Claude in a new terminal, you can use Claude Code through subscription like you used to. But before we go into details of the skill, it would be great if you subscribe to the channel and hit the hype button. This small gesture of support goes a long way for us. A landing page is the face of your company, and if its landing page looks like slop, you lose credibility and people won't come to your business at all. So to build one properly, you need to break the model out of the safe patterns it just casually defaults to. There are plenty of skills built for exactly that, and one of the most popular is Hallmark, an anti-AI slop design skill for agents. You use it through 4 verbs. The first is the default, just telling the agent what you want to build, and it builds new UIs following the workflow in its instructions. The second is audit, which checks your code against known anti-patterns to make sure the site doesn't have any. The third is redesign, which throws out your current design and tries a fresh revision in a totally different direction. And the last is study, where you hand it a site you like and it pulls the style out of that site and works in that direction. Here's the part that matters. If you asked any agent to study a site without Hallmark, it would just straight up clone the style. But Hallmark specifically stops that and instead treats the site as a design reference rather than a copy, so your result still comes out original. It also ships with a rich library of design styles you can pull from for your own projects. If you want to actually see those styles, their site has landing pages built in each one, so you can look through them visually. And in their docs, the recipe.md file lays out the prompting best practices. To use Hallmark, you need to install it first. For that, you need to copy the install command from the GitHub repository, paste it into the terminal, and the installation starts. It asks which agent you want to install it for. If you're using Kimi Code or running Codex, you go ahead without changing anything, and it installs into the .agents folder, which a lot of agents, including those two, use to hold their configs. But since you're using Kimi in Claude Code, you need to select Claude Code from the agents list as well, and that installs it into the .claude folder, where all of Claude's configs live. Once it's installed, you head to the project and find both the .agents and .claude folders with the skill in place. The skill.md file holds the descriptions of how to use it, how it should be invoked, and everything it needs to work. And this is what makes it better than the alternatives, because it carries more than 100 references covering different aspects, including AI slop patterns. It runs a 58 gate test before it hands the output back, which is 58 checks that help make sure the site's clean of slop. It also carries references for components and for the verbs from earlier. But before we see the designs from this skill, let's have a word by our sponsor. Your AI coding assistant is amazing while you're working with it, then forgets everything the moment you close it or switch tools. You start fresh, not knowing what you built yesterday or what another agent figured out, so you waste time and money re-explaining what it already knows. Jolly Memory, a free open source IDE extension that gives your assistant a persistent memory. It automatically captures the reasoning behind your project from tickets or links and conversations and saves it on your machine and turns them into structured documentation attached to every commit that automatically captures the reasoning of every architecture and engineering decision. It isn't locked to one tool or model, so jump from Claude to Gemini to Qwen and your memory comes with you, with no state.md file or notes to keep in sync. It works inside VS Code, IntelliJ, Cursor, Claude, and Windsurf, installed once and remembered everywhere. When something breaks, you can trace the reasoning behind every change, and it lays everything out like a simple map of your project. Grab Jolly Memory using the link in the pinned comment. Now, even though Kimi is genuinely good at front-end, it has also picked up patterns of its own, and those add up to its design style. It's brand new, so those patterns aren't very noticeable yet, but they'll get more obvious eventually. And because Chinese models are known to be trained through distillation of Claude models, which basically means training one model on the outputs of another, Opus 4.8 style shows up a lot in what Kimi generates. The way Opus puts images behind the hero section, runs large hero text off to the side, and reaches for warm orange and brown palettes, whether the site's dark or light, all of that shows up in Kimi's designs too. But the thing we like about Kimi is that the writing isn't stuffed with the marketing hype words Opus leans on. Everything feels like it's there on purpose, and it reads way more intentional than what other models put out. To test the skill, we ran it in Claude Code with Kimi and gave it a simple prompt for a landing page. Once it runs, it opens with a pre-step called the pre-flight. The pre-flight goes through your existing files that hold information about the design style and works out what it can keep and what needs to change. Since we'd just spun up a Next.js template, it locked in Next.js as the framework and threw the rest out. Before it moves on, it asks three things, which are who the audience is, what the site will be used for, and what the tone is. Mentioning that directly in the prompt is a best practice, but if you leave it out, it just asks you on its own, so it isn't something you strictly have to do. Once you answer, it pulls the theme and everything else from the references and builds the site. And when it's finished, it makes sure all 58 slop detection checks have passed. Since Hallmark runs off those verbs, asking it for a complete redesign changes everything. It recognizes that verb, loads the redesign protocol, asks the questions again, kicks off the same workflow, and rebuilds the whole thing in a completely different direction from the first one. Then there's audit mode, which checks the design against AI slop patterns. When you run the Hallmark audit, it loads the skill again, generates a report based on those patterns, and flags every finding. And from that report, you decide which fixes to apply. But when you're working with Kimi and Claude Code, you have to keep context management in mind because auto compaction won't run. So once the context window fills up, it doesn't stop working. But with the window full, you'll notice the answers start drifting off the instructions or turning weird and generic. After the audit, Kimi went ahead and made the flag changes, and there were a few. It removed the font that made the design read as AI slop. It swapped the images from Unsplash over to another site called Pixum, since Unsplash is the go-to for nearly every model. And it fixed the mobile responsiveness, which lifted the site overall. From there, you can keep asking for new versions until you're happy with it. One tip if you're going to use skills with Kimi and Claude Code, the automatic invocation doesn't fire reliably because Kimi isn't Claude Code's default model, and that automatic triggering is tuned around Claude's own models. So the better move is to invoke the skill manually with its / command, which makes sure it actually loads before it starts building. We also ran the same test in Claude Code on the Opus 4.8 model, both with the skill and without it. We started without the skill and it built the app the usual way. It took about 6 minutes and the site it produced was heavy AI slop. Everything gave it away as classic Opus, from the colors it picked to the gradient in the background to the rounded boxes it leaned on. Now, if you remember, our design system has the AI slop detector skill, which is trained to catch slop across all the known patterns, including the ones from Opus. So we ran it on the project and it flagged the lot, reporting multiple high and low confidence slop patterns and calling out the gradient text in particular. Then we ran Hallmark. It loaded the skill, ran the pre-flight, logged the patterns, asked the same questions, and ran the whole workflow again. It took way longer than the run without the skill, but the result was worth it because the final design came out way more creative and intentional. The buttons had much better interactivity, and all of it came from the model understanding the product better. By default, it doesn't drop in placeholder images either, because reaching for Unsplash stock is one of the slop patterns in its rules. It's built for product builders, so it tells you to bring your own instead of falling back on AI-generated or stock ones. And overall, it produced a noticeably better design than Kimi did, so we'd say the skill works better with Claude right now. It doesn't yet have a deep sense of how Kimi designs and is just flagging findings from the others' known patterns. But across all our testing, the skill worked really well. Now, this design system we just mentioned, along with everything else we build and show you in all our videos, can be found in AI Labs Pro, which is our community. So if you've found value in what we do and want to support the channel, this is the best way to do it. The link's in the description. Now, if you've used Codex or know how it works, you'll know its default colors are a mix of green and white, the same way Opus defaults to orange, cream, and brown. Those are the colors it reaches for as its default style. Its designs also lean on a lot of SVGs, and it tends to pick font sizes that run fairly small against the screen. The designs come out pretty good next to the others, but those default patterns are going to surface no matter what. So we tested Codex with the skill installed in the .agents folder and gave it a prompt that simply said what we wanted to build. We used the Codex app for this because it comes with browser use tools and other capabilities that make it work really well. It went through the pre-flight and asked us about the audience, the use case, and the tone. Once we made those choices, it ran the whole workflow, editing multiple files, running the usual tests, and an interactive browser test. It has browser capabilities on hand and it's genuinely good at this kind of thing, so it puts them to use. When it was done, the site it came back with looked way better. The one thing is that the blue and white combination can still read a little AI generated, but here it comes across as intentional rather than slop because these color resonates with technical websites. All the elements were different from how Codex produces designs by default. Although there were some issues in the image it has put on the hero section, like the selected tabs visuals didn't came out right, but this is something we could have fixed later on. So we ran the Hallmark audit and it generated a report. The report said the overall structure was strong with only a few issues left, including responsiveness, which the first version tend to miss. That brings us to the end of this video. If you'd like to support the channel and help us keep making videos like this, you can do so by using the super thanks button below. As always, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.